BYD and MG, and frankly all modern manufacturers of vehicles these days, they've developed data collection systems to harvest data from your car and send it so that they can sort of send that back to their headquarters, and they can sell that on to third parties. And also they can use it for innocent purposes too. In Europe, they say that if it's a Chinese vehicle or a Chinese manufacturer, the data has to be sent from the car to a European server and then onwards to China. That's apparently a rule. I'm not sure if there's a way around that for BYD, MG, SAIC, companies like that. But why do people have such a hard time believing these companies when they're talking about this stuff? None of us are oblivious. I'm sure you'll be more than happy to talk about this in the comments, and I'm pretty sure people will be saying to other people in the comments that they're wrong. That's a given, that's okay, but it's just much more easier for you to talk about it in the comments than it is for me to talk about it in a video, hence why I kind of thought I'd make this video collaboratively with you, so I could talk about it and then you could also be a part of the conversation, as opposed to I make a video and then you just comment on my video. You could be a part of this conversation. I thought it'd be an interesting experiment. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that my audience generally a bunch of smart people, really, engineers and people from universities and lecturers and things like that, retired police officers, but generally just smart people. And so you've got a lot to say, and I'm sure you've been very analytical over the years and you've seen where this is going, where it's come from, where it's going to. I'm sure you've got some really interesting thoughts. So this video is not just talking about Chinese vehicles, just bear that in mind. It's about all vehicles, but also it pertains to EVs and Chinese vehicles, simply because of the controversy in the media these days. The data that is being harvested by companies like Toyota on the Camrys and the Corollas and the, in the news lately, if you've just given it a quick Google, can include driver behavior, the vehicle location, G-forces, the battery health, for example, if it's an electric car, even data related to the infotainment system. So what things are you doing on the infotainment system? How warm is your car? It would seem quite irrelevant, but it's really not an issue these days for these companies to just have a computer and to have the cars send them the data and they just store it. So they've got, an immense amount of data to chew through if they ever have an issue, like a technical issue, or need to, say, for example, deny a warranty claim, for example. Infotainment systems and onboard sensors can collect and transmit data, things like braking patterns, routes that you've taken because they have GPS, even the driver's specific use of connected apps if you're pressing buttons at, on Spotify at traffic lights. Most of this is innocent. There's no issues at all with any of this stuff happening, really. But it's just a very interesting thing to chew over and talk about, I think, isn't it? There's a growing suspicion that data that is coming from Chinese-made EVs could be made accessible to the Chinese government. Basically, somehow the Chinese government will just get that data and they can figure something out with it. And it's not really a concern now, I don't think. Some people in the UK driving around in an MG4, that's not a concern at all right now, because there's not that many of you. But in the future, if half of the world's population drove an MG4 and China could do something, that's where this becomes a bit of a topic for discussion. But even then, it's a bit lofty, I think, isn't it? So MG, BYD, or MG, when I say MG, I actually mean SAIC, the Chinese state-owned company that own the brand MG. They insist that data is collected for maintenance and service enhancement is the word you could say. So yeah, hi folks, I'm Ben Alexander. Thank you very much for stopping by. I normally talk about the latest EV news in my videos, which, this one's a bit different, in that this is a response to a comment that I got. And I thought, people need to talk about this. This is an interesting topic, right? We talk about our cars being computers on wheels. So basically, to that person who commented, thank you, this video is kind of for you, but it's also, the idea here is that it's a collaborative effort between you watching and me saying stuff here to, hopefully you can have a conversation in the comments. Can you buy a modern car that isn't having the data mined, was the question asked. No, put simply, I just don't think you could. And it's largely not an issue, to be honest. I don't think it's a major issue at all. I think it's not going in a good direction, considering as well when you say, when you compare it to where we've come from, probably not a great thing for the next generation, to be honest, either. They would likely have to deal with some irritating things like warranty claims being denied or I don't know, manufacturers becoming more and more intense with selling things to third parties, which then trickles down to yada yada yada. You know, I won't go into this. This is a very wormhole type of thing. Largely, it's quite innocent. It's okay if Toyota want to have data or do over-the-air updates. This is not really a big concern for most people. I wouldn't say that we should. I don't think we should be too stressed about it. That's what I would say. So for most people, go about your business. But for some people, it's an interesting thing to talk about, hence this video. Most EVs are connected to the internet via cellular networks, and Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi. So data is often transmitted to the manufacturer through cloud servers, which collect, process, and analyze the data remotely using AI more and more these days. This may happen periodically in real time, or depending on the type of information being shared, retrospectively. So they can pull stuff from the car. If you, say, make a claim now and said something happened a month ago, they can find the data from a month ago. They can do that. So what I thought I could do here is rather than just splurge out a lot of stuff, you have at it in the comments. So I'll be a part of it for a good couple of hours, and I'll be waiting to see what you put. Almost all cars these days I'm going to go with come with connectivity. There's no way around it. It's just it's like buying an Apple Mac computer that doesn't use the internet. It's just a tricky, we're in 2024. It's a very big part of our lives these days, and you can't escape that now. I think you'd have to research a car that doesn't harvest your data, maybe publicly avows it. They put it out there. We do not do that. Or just convert an electric car, in which case you can do that very, very well. There's some really clever people doing that, and it's probably a very good thing to do if you have a bit of an issue with this sort of stuff. Even Toyota, they sell the data to third parties very often, which goes to insurance companies to decline insurance claims and warranty claims, things like that. This is all over the news. Just give it a quick Google if you're a bit unsure. Please take the opportunity to say stuff below. I know there are people that usually have really interesting things to say. Let's just come up with, like, Gil. You're one of the people that I'm thinking of now. You often write things that are really quite smart, and they're really interesting, intricate things. And I know that a lot of people read your stuff, for example, so it's really interesting. Please take the opportunity to say stuff, whoever is watching this. Thank you for the time. Enjoy the rest of the day. And if anything, even if you don't want to talk in the comments, I hope it's spurred you on to Google it and do a bit of research, because it's just an interesting topic. And I suppose you should be considering that stuff when you're buying a car. Yeah.